Hello everyone, welcome to your forecast for Jupiter in Aquarius for 2021. I know a lot of you just skip right to your sign and don't listen to the beginning of this video, so I will probably repeat myself a little bit in each sign just because of that. But for now, I do want to say that this is when, Jupiter will be in Aquarius from December 19th, 2020, to like May 12th of 2021. Then it briefly moves into Pisces, and then moves back into Aquarius on July 28th, 2021, and moves forward into, finally, at the end of December 28th, it fully moves into Pisces. So when I get to Pisces, I'll probably tell you a little bit more, because for those of you born in the early signs of Pisces, you're gonna you're gonna have Jupiter in your sign for a little while, so it's gonna be kind of neat. Anyways, I'll get right to it. For Aries, where Jupiter falls in your horoscope is in the sign of Aquarius, is your 11th house. You just had Jupiter in your 10th house of career and social status and public reputation, how you're known by profession, even personal reputation, any kind of awards or, prominence of any kind in your life. So when Jupiter was here, that was like really aspected very well. So you should have had some kind of elevated status while Jupiter was here in 2020, which was like kind of hard though, because a lot of people weren't able to do much of anything, as far as going to let's say find a new position of some kind, or a promotion or whatever. If it wasn't for the pandemic and whatever that was going on in the circumstances that really limited everyone, maybe you would have gotten like the full effect of having Jupiter here. But Saturn was also here at the same time, which is the case for this right now. Both Jupiter and Saturn are in Aquarius in your 11th house. So Jupiter is like muted in a way just because of this. Because of having Saturn in your 11th house also at the same time. You won't get the full effect of Jupiter in Aquarius for maybe another 12 years, But just having Jupiter in your 11th house of friends and acquaintances, the places where you would normally go to hang out, it's your crowd, your group, any kind of organization that you may belong to. It's also the house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. But this is the most sociable house in your whole horoscope. So if you're still stuck at home or not able to really get out and socialize with people face to face, you'll be doing a lot more of that online right now. For most of 2021, I would have to say. So you're going to be on social media a lot more than you normally are. So if you don't have a social media account, I suggest that you get one, because this is where your expansion is going to take place in your group of friends. You are going to meet more people, this year online, than you would any other time, and that is due to, I believe, the pandemic. Jupiter makes you want to expand in any area where it's transiting. So this is one of those times where you will be going after your goals even. The house of dreams, hopes, and wishes. So you're going to go out after that goal that you've always wanted to do, something that you've always tried to achieve. And it could be because of the pandemic. A lot of people are like, what am I waiting for? I'm going to go out and do everything I possibly can. Not that you're going to die or anything, but after being restricted for so long, you really are trying to break free. But having Saturn here, Saturn's characteristics are like the exact opposite of Jupiter. Jupiter brings good fortune and lots of opportunity, and like I said, expansion in wherever it's transiting, whereas Saturn restricts and makes you do things very slowly, so you learn as you're going along. You don't you learn the lesson of whatever it is that you're doing, and you don't have to repeat yourself. Okay, so it wants you to take baby steps in a way. So you may actually have your reputation precede you when you want to join an organization. Okay, they already know about you because you just had Jupiter in your 10th house of your public reputation. And professional status, personal status, any kind of status that you have. Okay, so they already know you're coming. They may have been courting you even, but they would like you to belong to their group. Okay, so you may be like really, you know, it's not a snow job or anything, but you know, you could be really wowed by this and forget about all the other crap that's going to come with, let's say, joining this organization and possibly even taking some kind of leadership role in it. Okay, it's actually going to end up, because of Saturn being here, a very responsible position. You'll be like responsible for everything that you thought, like, you know, it would go to someone else. You wouldn't be the sole person overseeing everything, you know. But it looks like a lot of, you know, I would say responsibility will be thrust on your shoulders if you do join some kind of organization. So you might want to ask an awful lot of questions before you do that. Also, when Jupiter's here, sometimes it's almost like when you have Jupiter in your own sign. I always tell people you usually make at least one good friend that is more than likely still with you. Okay, when Jupiter is in your sign, Jupiter transits each zodiac sign for about a year, so it takes like 12 years for it to come back to your sign. Okay, Jupiter being in your 11th house of friends, though, kind of does the same thing. It brings at least one person into your life that is going to play kind of like a really important part in your life over this next year, and they may actually still be with you for the rest of your life. They could be like a really, really good friend. Okay, if it's not a friend, it's a good contact. Okay. Even your circle of like acquaintances kind of grows in what way, one way or another. You know, you don't have to be best friends with everybody, okay? But it seems like you're really popular and you are going to know even more people than you have like all your life, okay? Also, the idea of going out somewhere. You know, that this is usually a time when you want to physically be somewhere. You know, you want to have a new place to hang out, or go to a place where you always hung out. But like I said, a lot of places are even closing due to the pandemic. So it could be that something new comes along in your life, and it is a place where it's finally safe to go and meet with people, meet with your friends, or, you know, could be some new nightclub or a new bar or something like that. But it could be pretty important with over the next year. Okay. As far as your dreams, hopes, and wishes, this doesn't ensure that they happen, but it does ensure that you like are finally taking the steps to go after a goal that you haven't reached yet, obviously, or it could have been something you had a long time ago, even when you were a kid, you know, that you've decided, you know what, I'm going to try this. And having Saturn here at the same time will make you go through the drudgery if it is something that's kind of hard to learn or hard to achieve in some way or other, but it will help you along the way. Okay. For Taurus, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your 10th house of your career, your livelihood, how you're known by professional and even personal reputation. Usually when Jupiter's here, you are given some kind of promotion throughout the year. It doesn't happen immediately. It could, though, because Jupiter and Saturn just moved together, and created that conjunction that everybody was out trying to see. It depends on what the weather was like wherever you live, okay, if you were able to see it or not. But sometimes this is what happens during that kind of conjunction in this house, is you are given a promotion. If you don't work or if you're retired, there is still something about your status that has been elevated in some way. You're given even some kind of an award, for just being you, or doing something in the past that people are talking about and reminiscing about now, and possibly even thinking of you for some kind of future position, even though you are retired, okay? People could be bringing you out of retirement right now because they need your expertise in whatever it is that you do, or whatever kind of livelihood you had previously, or some kind of personal interest that you have, that you've learned whatever on your own, and they, even if it's just your community, need your knowledge in this area right now. Okay, this is also a time where you are rubbing elbows with pretty prominent people. Some of them could be politicians even. Okay, this is having Jupiter in the 10th house, like, kind of denotes good relations with government offices and people who work in the government, but it could even be the military, okay? Having Saturn here at the same time, though, doesn't mean that everything's going to go according to plan, or going to move very swift. This could be a long time coming. You could be even learning something in order to obtain this new position. It does, though, denote not just government, but celebrities, celebrity type people, famous people. You could be associated with them now, or acknowledged by them in some way or other, or even become a celebrity of some kind or other. Okay, for Gemini, Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your 9th house. Okay, 9th house, the natural ruler of the 9th house is Jupiter. Okay, this is a huge travel house, and it's usually long distance travel to foreign countries, to take that dream trip that you've always wanted to take, that you've been saving for all your life, this place where you've always really wanted to go to. And it does look like it is in another country, or it could be within your own country, but at a distance. There are times, though, too, when just due to the COVID-19 virus still being in effect pretty much, and all the precautions that we'll still be taking in 2021, you might not take that trip right now, or you may take little trips, a bunch of little trips, but they are still long distance. But long distance in astrology doesn't necessarily mean in miles. It could also mean in hours. Okay, this is also like a big communication house. Okay, having Saturn here at the same time during this transit, kind of Jupiter is muted because of Saturn right now. Okay, Jupiter wants to expand in this area, and Saturn makes you take it easy. Don't go so quickly. Learn whatever it is that you're learning now, and make sure you learn it well, so you never have to go back to it again. So that's the big thing here. Jupiter's wants you to expand, wants you to take in all kinds of stuff. This is the house of higher learning. A lot of people take a class at this time, and this is like university type classes or an online class. A lot of times people take up another language, okay, a foreign language, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a speaking language. This could be a sign language, okay, or it could even be because the planet, because you have Aquarius here, and Aquarius does govern the airwaves and electronics, any kind of technology. You may even learn some kind of programming code, okay, or software of some kind, or gaming, something or other. But it looks like you're out to master it. Uh, as far as communications go, that is another thing that you could take up. Sometimes people take up things like a ham radio, to reach out and talk to people from all around the world. And you have to get a license for that. Here in America, anyway, I'm not sure about the rest of the world, so you could be brushing up on something like that. This is also the house of publishing and media. So you could possibly be writing something. It could be anything. And it could even be, again, computer code or a manual that's dealing with software of some kind, or any kind of electronics. But it could be anything. I don't want to say a novel. It looks like you could be writing something that's educational even, or it could be in regards to you are like a teacher. You know what I mean? You could be teaching a class of your own even right now, and it could be online still. Even once the pandemic is over, you could still be, it's just easier to reach more people teaching something online. And if you are writing something, to me it looks like it's a manual of some kind. This is also the house of import exports. Okay, big like foreign everything. So you may notice you have a lot more contact with people from other parts of the world. If you're not in touch with foreigners, okay, you would be in touch with people within your own country who live at a distance. They're not like in your immediate area. And also, this is the house of spirituality and religious beliefs, and even like your whole outlook on life. Okay, so you may adopt some kind of belief system from another culture, okay, and incorporate it into your life, no matter what your religious beliefs were. You may even be questioning those just due to the fact that Saturn is here. So if you were raised in a certain religion since childhood, that could actually be changing right now, because you are exposing yourself to other cultures at this time, and their belief system is like a lot more interesting to you right now, and it actually seems to be working out better for you psychologically and spiritually. Hi, Cancer. Excuse me. So for you, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your 8th house. Okay, the planet Saturn is also transiting here at the very same time, so it's kind of muting the effect of Jupiter. So you're not going to really get the full effect of Jupiter. No one is. Okay, you have to wait about another 12 years when Jupiter is in Aquarius by itself, more or less. I haven't checked that far ahead to see what other planets might also be in Aquarius, but this is the way it's going right now. Okay, we just had this Jupiter conjunct Saturn, in December, right? So it was a pretty big deal, and it occurred in your 8th house of other people's resources and inheritances and legacies. And this is also the house of death. Okay, in astrology, death does not have to be literal. Okay, it's the ending of something, usually the ending of a way of life, or an idea, even a thought, just changing something in your life. It has to end. It has to die off for you to begin new. Okay, so that could be something that's occurring right now in your life. However, there is also the possibility, and we are so surrounded by death right now just due to the pandemic, okay, which is still ongoing in 2021. So, it's not over yet, and it looks like someone could pass away and leave you, some kind of legacy or inheritance. In fact, doesn't even necessarily have to be anyone close to you. It does not have to be a relative. Okay, but it does look like that possibility is there for you, like the whole, all of 2021. And when Jupiter leaves this place, your 8th house, and moves into your ninth, Saturn will still be in your 8th house. And that is time of endings and new beginnings. Okay, so having Jupiter here right now does open up areas for you to expand. That's what Jupiter wants to do. It wants you to expand. It brings in new opportunities for you, new ideas. You want to try new things. Saturn, on the other hand, restricts and makes you do things a little bit slowly, doesn't want you to go overboard too quickly, because that is what Jupiter does sometimes. It's in such a hurry to get out there and encompass everything, you know. So in this area, though, you may be given access to a lot of things that other people own, okay? It could be one person in particular, but you could be given use of anything from equipment of some kind to a home, a place to live, a place to hang out, any kind of supplies that you may need. But this is also the house of other people's money. And it is also money coming to you through means other than earning it. Okay, which could mean this is a big settlement area here. Tax payoff, you know, but a settlement of some kind coming in. Insurance settlement, possibly. Legal settlement. Tax return or refund, though. This is the time to possibly go to the bank if you needed to loan of some kind. They will more than likely be more willing to deal with you now and talk to you. They will possibly give you the loan, but due to this Saturn thing, it could come with a lot of restrictions. So that's something to look into somewhere down the line. Possibly when Venus enters this area in Aquarius, when Venus enters Aquarius very soon, might be the best time to talk to somebody at the bank, okay? Because when Venus is here, they're a little bit more kinder or nicer to you. But having just Jupiter and Saturn here right now, you know, it's always going to come with some kind of, anything that's given to you right now seems that it will always come with strings attached to it just because of Saturn being here. Okay, but this is also the house of like prizes, winning money. Okay, you don't have to go overboard, don't have to go out and gamble, you know, just because I said that. But if I were you, when you had the money, I would put, you know, at least a couple bucks on the largest jackpot that you have in your area. Okay, something to keep in mind. This is also, like I said, new beginnings, but something also has to end, and sometimes it is a relationship. This is also not just a jointly held property that you own with someone else, it's also jointly held debt that you may possibly have with someone else, a partner, usually a spouse, but it could be a business partner or a friend or a family member. It could be anybody. But this is when you really want to get that cleared up. You know, it's just like you're tired of carrying the weight of it on your shoulders. And this is one of those times where that can actually happen. It may take you the whole year of 2021 to do that, but it looks like, you know, you're going to have help in some way or other. Someone is always going to help you while Jupiter is here. You just have to make sure you don't sign your life away with the kind of help that they're going to give you. You know what I mean? So somebody could rush in and offer you all kinds of stuff. Just make sure you ask a lot of questions. Okay, especially before you sign on the dotted line. So for Leo, okay, we have Aquarius in your 7th house. Aquarius is your opposite sign, so it's directly across from your 1st house of Leo. Right now, both Jupiter and Saturn are here. Okay, so Jupiter is muted while Saturn is here. And you're not going to really get all of the full effects of Jupiter. But this kind of looks nice though for you, okay, because of the house that it's in. The seventh house is the house of close relationships, close partnerships of any kind. A lot of times, this is the house of romantic partnerships, business partnerships, close friends, anybody that you're very, very close with. But a lot of times when Jupiter is here, people get married or they at least get engaged, okay? Having Saturn here at the same time means that you're looking for somebody really stable. I mean, you're really thinking about this. This could be a very, if you're an older person who has already been married, maybe even more than once, you're really thinking about, what am I getting out of this? Am I going to do this again? I've already done it twice or once or whatever, you know, or however many times. You're not sure, excuse me, if this is for you. So you could just get engaged and have one of those long, long years of engagements. You don't necessarily have to make it permanent right now. So just keep that in mind. But you are really looking at what's in it for you. You know, I mean, anybody would. You don't have a lot of stars in your eyes when it comes to whomever it is that you're considering settling down with. So you're trying to get a little bit more out of it than just love, which is very good. It's normal. It's normal to think that way. You know, you're changing your whole life for someone else. So you might want to keep that in mind. Okay, I know someone that said, I'm not getting married unless I'm titled, unless a title comes along with it, and like Contessa at least, or Baroness or whatever, you know. So they were just joking, but you know, there's a lot of things to take into consideration when really settling down with someone, and even so far as in business, okay, not just romance, in business. You know, are you willing to take on all the responsibility that it does entails in taking on a business, especially during a pandemic that is not over yet. It will still be, you know, dealing with it in 2021, and so many businesses have failed just because they were forced to close. They were forced to not be able to open their doors to the public, or, you know, operate the way they normally would. So whatever kind of business you're thinking about getting into, it looks like it's going to have to be adapted to whatever's going on in the world. Okay, the pandemic and all the precautions and whatever, you know. But you may be one of those people that are actually able to do that. A lot of businesses have failed at this time, but new ones have popped up because these people saw an opening and the need for a certain thing. Obviously, we're all online a lot more than we were. Okay, so maybe it's something like that, or maybe you have something to offer. Okay, but it looks like you may be starting a business with someone. Okay, as far as close friends go, this is also the house of open enemies. Okay, and this means this is someone that you don't normally get along with. This could even be a competitor, okay? That everyone knows that you two don't get along. It's no big secret, not even a big deal, actually, you know? But this person could reach out to you while Jupiter is here and want to befriend you or get to know you better, or, you know, bury the hatchet or whatever it is. You know, and that's something you'll have to take into consideration yourself, okay? Remember, Saturn is here, okay? So it comes with a little bit of lessons. You know, maybe there's a reason for this, though. Maybe you two are in the same vicinity of each other for like 2021. There's some reason that this person would want to do this, and it's just to smooth things over because you are in each other's company for some reason or other. Maybe you have to work together, or maybe you know, there's just some reason. Okay, so, you know, just to be civil or at least look good, you know, you would do that, just that. You would be civil towards this person, and you would look good. So leave it at that, though. You don't have to, be all chummy and best friends with them and whatever, even though that is something they may be trying to do. So just keep that in mind. Keep an eye out for this person, and you know what you're doing. Don't let them flatter you. Sometimes flattery, like, really goes to your head, and it's a lot of times it's just people just trying to use you. Okay, keep that in mind. I'm sure you already know that. Okay, for Virgo, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your 6th house of the workplace, your co-workers, the very building or wherever it is that you work, even the kind of work that you do. It's also your house of health and also your house of service. And I like this one all the time. Small pets. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if you did get a small pet, meaning it's not a barnyard kind of animal. It's a dog or a cat or a bird or a reptile, like a whatever, little lizard or something, But it would be, a time when something like this is possible, okay? You have to remember, though, that Saturn is here at the same time, and if you do get a pet at this time, there's some responsibility that goes along with that. So you might have to, if you're not used to owning a pet that is actually a family member, okay, to be treated that way. So that's maybe something that you have to learn, that they are just like having a baby, only it's a little furry thing, okay. Also, if you are actually in the workplace, physical building, working in a building, the circumstances there could be a lot better due to the COVID-19 virus. Maybe a lot of new things have been introduced into this area that's to keep you safer than previously. And in fact, your employer may decide that all of you should just work from home, like could even be forever. There's no overhead anymore, right? If everybody works from home, your employer does not have to pay rent on a building that might have been very expensive, especially in New York, where I think a lot of that is going on right now. Employers found that people are able to work just as well from home than they are actually in a building, and it is a lot better. Or there could also be a new person coming into the workplace. This is a higher up, or it could be just a co-worker who is very beneficial to you for some reason or other. Either they make your job a little bit easier, or they're just so friendly that you actually become friends, good friends with this person. And you may even actually they may be with you for the rest of your life. This is one of those people that you make friends with at work and you just know them forever. So that's like really good. It's a really good placement for Jupiter as far as something like that goes. Also, your schedule could change in some way at work, and that's far more beneficial than it was before. And you could also be given new equipment of some kind, even if it's new software, that makes your job 10 times easier than it was previously. Okay, now for your health, usually having Jupiter here, it denotes really good health, but having Saturn here at the same time actually points out areas in your life, where your health might be might need looked at, certain parts of your body that may be acting up, or some kind of something or other that maybe you should get checked out. And what happens is, once you do, having Jupiter here helps to ensure that it's taken care of before it becomes a real problem. So you like cut it off at the pass, you know what I mean? You prevented something from occurring in your health that could have been a big problem. Okay, somewhere down the line. Having Jupiter here too also makes you want to physically work out a little bit more. It does, a lot of times, it does cause people to gain weight. you're just into eating for some reason or other, you know, but I don't really see that happening because, again, having Saturn here, Saturn is muting the full effects of Jupiter while these two are transiting together. Okay, so you're not really going to get the full impact of either planet. Okay, and they're exact opposites. Jupiter rules expansion and opportunity and just really wanting to get out there and try everything. You know, in fact, you probably will change your diet in some way. And I would have to say adopt eating habits of like another culture, the kind of foods even. You could adopt some kind of foreign dish that maybe you would never have tried before. Also, having Saturn here will, if you didn't before, will have you take your health a lot more seriously. Okay, and as far as the house of service goes, you may be able to work out some kind of an arrangement with someone. Could be a neighbor, could be a family member, anybody, or even a coworker, where you do something for them and they do something for you out of necessity. Okay, could be even like driving. Maybe you're in a carpool. Maybe this one drives, the other one doesn't. But it works out for both of you, like for now. Okay, but it's you can make some kind of an arrangement like that right now. Hi, Libra. So, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your 5th house of romance and creativity, gambling, speculation, children, amusements of any kind, entertainment, big romance, big whatever coming your way, hopefully. If it isn't romance, you could actually be bringing a child into your life now. If you are not pregnant, you may become pregnant or adopt a child even at this time, or do something child related. Let's put it that way. Something like, as far as creativity goes, maybe you'll write a children's book, or there is some kind of game or whatever that you may create. If it's not for just your children, it could be something that that you create to sell. You know, some kind of it doesn't necessarily have to deal with children, though. Okay, it could be anything. But I'm just saying that because this is a time where your mind or your attention at least turns towards a child. And if it isn't your own, it could be someone else's. In fact, this is the big house of romance, right? So a lot of opportunities open up for you here as far as that goes. But you have to remember that the planet Saturn is also traveling here at the same time. That big conjunction we all just had with Jupiter conjunct Saturn means that they are in the same sign. They're both in Aquarius all of 2021. So Jupiter here is kind of muted because of Saturn being here at the same time. The planets, the characteristics of both planets are exact opposites in a way. Okay, Jupiter governs good fortune, opportunity, expansion of any kind, whereas Saturn is the big taskmaster, rules restriction, stability, though. You know, so it seems like, okay, if you are open to a romance at this time, someone that you're interested in may have a child. So you, if you don't have children of your own, or you weren't expecting, you know, to be raising someone else's child or whatever. I mean, it's something to consider. So there could be a lot of responsibility that comes along with whatever romance you may possibly get involved in at this time. Or you may have a lot of opportunities to meet potential partners, but you're only looking for someone that is very stable or completely different from someone that your type or whatever in the past, because now you're looking for something not so whirlwind, you know, not one of those. It depends on your age and what you've already gone through previously, but it just looks like you're looking for some nice, normal, stable relationship with somebody who is that exactly. They don't have any kind of like huge baggage that you would have to deal with, such as like some kind of addiction or just, you know, something about their past that like follows them around forever. Um, you know, so that's really what you're looking for as far as romance goes. And as far as creativity goes, you want to create something that's going to last, okay? If you collaborate with anyone at this time, you'll be very, I don't want to say strict, but very definite about how you want things done. And because your name's going on it along with everyone else's, right? So you're not going to put up with a lot of uh, something that you would in the past, like give your collaborators a lot more freedom. And now it seems like you're really keeping an eye on whatever it is that they do, because, like I said, your name's also going on this very project. So you're watching it a lot closer than you normally would have if you collaborated, even with these same people in the past. And maybe that's why you're keeping an eye on them, because you have been involved with them in the past when it comes to something creative. Okay, as far as speculation and gambling go, that's also something that you're kind of calculated about right now. You can afford to take a chance on something, but it's almost like a sure thing. Okay, and the chance may possibly be yourself taking a chance on your creative project or a romance or something that you're pretty sure of. You know what I mean? So I don't see you going overboard too much. But this is the area where, you know, this is the house of fun. And a lot of people need to have fun now more than ever. So you could actually be making up for lost time after being confined and restricted and whatever due to the COVID-19 virus, which will still be in effect pretty much in 2021. So you may have developed some new form of entertainment that is just fine with you. You know what I mean? And you may even actually bring other people into it, like turn other people onto your way of doing something, if it is a creative project or it is a form of entertainment. Okay, so it's something that could actually catch on, you know, and other people will like spread the word, or more or less, about whatever it is that you're doing, and probably want to do it with you, whatever, or learn how to whatever it is that you've created. But it could be, I don't know, new game, new whatever, new sport. Okay, so for Scorpio, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your fourth house. That's where you have the sign of Aquarius, and your fourth house is your home life, your actual home that you live in. It's also the property surrounding it. It's your immediate family or the people that you live with. Okay, it's also your past and your childhood. Many things here. Okay, but a lot of times when Jupiter is here, you like buy a new house or move or do something to your present place where you live. Okay, even if you live in an apartment, there's something that you are doing differently. You're adding to it, buying something very important, like a large item or appliance or something or other for your apartment. You have to remember too that Saturn is also transiting here at the same time, so the effects of Jupiter are muted in some way or other. Okay, Jupiter doesn't get to act fully because Saturn is there to like keep it in check. Okay, Jupiter likes to expand very quickly. It's big on opportunity. It's also the planet of good fortune. It brings a lot of good things into your life. Now, Saturn here helps you to like pick through them and figure out which ones are worth going after, and which ones are kind of fly by night. So having Saturn here, you could be offered some kind of deal, let's say on a house, and it sounds too good to be true, and it may actually be that way. Or it's on the up and up, and it is for real. But once Jupiter leaves this area, you'll just have Saturn here, and you may find that there's something about either the paperwork that you signed that doesn't never knew that was in there, a clause or whatever. It's not like it was snuck in there though either. But this time, if you're buying a house, you really, really have to ask an awful lot of questions and really read the fine print. Okay, so or when you bought the house, your area where you live and everything was really nice, and your neighbors were nice people, and it's a good area. Okay. When Jupiter leaves here, sorry, there's just Saturn, and all of a sudden, the house could be like dragging you down. You feel like you're stuck. You may want to sell again, but for some reason you have to stay in this area. You have to stay in your home, but it could become a little bit of a burden or something like that. However, not just the house, okay, could be your family. Things could be going really well. You could even have someone move in with you, and it could be your parents. Maybe you're taking care of your parents, or it could be a family member that needs taken care of, okay? And they're fine, I mean, they just need a little help until Jupiter leaves here, and then there's just Saturn, and all of a sudden this person needs a lot more help than they did, and you're end up being a caregiver when you had not planned on doing this. Okay, or you could even another scenario is you could have someone move in with you, a roommate, after living alone, and have someone move in with you and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden they become like a real problem and you can't get rid of them. So that's something to really take into consideration, is really be choosy about who you're going to live with if you are looking for a roommate, because after Jupiter leaves this area, they may become like a real pain, or they could leave. And all of a sudden, you are in new circumstances. You still have to pay that rent or have to pay this or that, but this person is gone now. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. Okay, for Sagittarius, Jupiter in Aquarius falls in your third house. Saturn is also transiting here. These two are together. And Jupiter is kind of muted while Saturn is here, keeping it in check, kind of. Jupiter wants to hurry up and do everything, sees the big picture. Jupiter is your ruling planet. So wherever it's transiting, it's always good luck for you, no matter what sign it's in, okay? So your immediate area, your neighborhood, your neighbors, your everyday life, the places where you would normally go throughout the normal course of a day. I always say, like the grocery store, gas station, bank, post office, library, something like that. Okay, all of these places offer some kind of opportunity for you for some reason, even if it's just meeting people, and that flourishes into something or other. Having Saturn here, though, kind of puts a damper in a way on activities in your neighborhood. Just when you want them to expand, you might have to keep in mind that the COVID-19 virus is still in effect even in 2021, so there's still going to be a lot of restrictions going on. However, you're able to adapt to them. You're adaptable anyway. To whatever could possibly be going on with businesses or whatever in your area. If you own one yourself, this year should be a little bit better for you. as far as being able to operate or have adapted in some way where you're able to make money again, and not have to keep closing down, whenever this or that happens with the pandemic. This is also a big communication house. It's the house of writing. It's also a educational house, but it's more like things that you learn kind of like on your own, or areas of interest that you've always enjoyed. You may expand in this area a little bit more and actually learn something that you'll possibly use, let's say, in business or in writing. This is that book that you've been writing in your head and have not put down on paper, just little phrases here and there, little notebook that you've possibly carried around with you for how long now. This is the time, this is what Saturn will help you do. It will help you sit down and write that novel, that screenplay, that actual live play, anything that you've been wanting to write. This is the house of the internet. It's a media house. Internet falls in many different areas in the horoscope, but this one especially, okay, because this is the big communication house. This house is naturally ruled by Gemini, and Mercury is the natural ruler of this house. So that just goes to tell you that everything is big communications here. The mail, regular postal mail and email, you could end up getting like really good news a lot of times in either one, okay? Lots of conversations going on, but it looks like maybe more online than on the phone. But there's all kinds of possibilities here, okay? This is also the house of siblings and cousins. So if you have not, let's say, been getting along with either one of these people in your life, this Jupiter comes along and opens up some kind of new dialogue, and it gets you all kind of back together, at least talking. Whatever becomes of that is up to you. But remember, Saturn is still here, and when Jupiter leaves, you will still be dealing with these people. Now, siblings is one thing, but other relatives, there's sometimes a reason that they're trying to come back into your life, and a lot of times it's more because it's better for them, not necessarily you. Okay, this is also the house of like short distance travel, road trips, okay? So even though a lot of people still won't be traveling that much due to the COVID-19 virus, you may have many opportunities to do that, and you may actually do it. But it looks like it's a overnight travel, a lot of overnight travel, or just weekenders, and it seems to be kind of like close by or within your, let's say, tri-state area. So for Capricorn, so Jupiter is leaving your first house, and it's going into, or it already is, in Aquarius, in your second house, okay, along with Saturn. They both moved together, and that's what that big deal conjunction was all about, that everybody was going on and on about, okay? So these two planets are together in 2021, just like they were in your sign in 2020, okay? So when Jupiter and Saturn are traveling together, Jupiter's kind of muted by the effects of Saturn. Okay, these planets are like complete opposites in a way. Okay, Jupiter governs opportunity and expansion and good fortune, many things. Okay, Saturn, your ruling planet, okay, governs restrictions and stability, though. You know what I mean? A lot of really nice things that makes you, it's the lesson learner, okay? It makes you learn something to the point where you will never have to revisit it again, okay? So having these planets, they just left your first house, so something should have occurred there, right? For the better in your life, or even in your personality. Now that they're in your second house of income, how you earn your money. Okay, Jupiter, of course, will expand this area for you. It'll open up new opportunities for you to earn uh, money. It could even change your income in some way or other, increase it, help to increase it. But having Saturn here means that the money that you're bringing in is either going to have to be put in the bank in a savings of some kind, or that money will be used for something really necessary, not just necessities, but something that will possibly, even if it's like an investment of some kind. Okay, this would be the best time to make an investment. It may not pay off like immediately, but somewhere in the future. Okay, because you're investing in something that could be risky. However, the chances that you are taking, you've weighed the pros and cons of it. You know what you're doing. So if there is something that you would like to do as far as income goes, that let's say possibly starting your own business, especially during a pandemic, a lot of businesses have closed, have gone bankrupt, whereas a lot of new businesses have opened up and were able to carve out a new place for themselves in this new way of doing business. Okay, just again, like I said, due to the COVID-19 virus. So all of these things, they're going to be around for a while. So it seems like you have something in mind, though. Capricorn are the executives of the Zodiac. Okay, even rock stars that are Capricorns are like wealthy. They kept at it. You know what I mean? They just did whatever was necessary in order to move forward, and that's pretty much what your sign does. So it's just like I said, these planets just left your first house, so there was some kind of lesson learned there. As far as your personality goes. Okay, so it made you a little bit more bold in a way. Maybe you weren't so much in the past. You liked nice, stable, reliable things, anything, friendships, a job or something. You don't like all that excitement that may come when other transits come into your life. But now maybe you've learned to adapt, and maybe you are a little bit of a risk taker. And that's kind of like what this is all about. You are also, the second house is the house of hidden talents, okay? First of all, one should have exposed itself in one way or other when Jupiter was in your first house. Okay, now that it's in your second house, this is the area where it could even be a hobby, and it could be an old hobby that you had even as a child, okay? Or something that you did, even if it's like screen printing t-shirts or something in high school, in your art class. This could be an area where you are going to take up as your new livelihood, a new way of earning money, a new career for yourself, but a new business, I think, of some kind coming into your life that you've created. Okay, for Aquarius, well, the big deal, okay? Aquarius, Jupiter and Saturn, both planets are in your first house, okay? When Jupiter is in your own sign, I always tell people this, you usually make at least one good friend that will be with you more than likely for the rest of your life, okay? You can become very close with this person. Having Jupiter here, having Saturn, here at the same time kind of mutes the effects of Jupiter. So you're not going to get like the full effect like you normally would if Jupiter was the only planet that was in your sign right now. Okay, but I would have to say that it enhances the possibility of this new friend. Okay, this new friend could bring a lot of stability to your life in some way or other, even somewhere down the road into the future. They're a nice, reliable person. Their judgment is to be considered and their opinion asked every time you have to do something that's really that important, because they're giving you good advice. This is a good, nice, normal person coming into your life. Okay, it's not that there are abnormal people coming in, but I'm just saying, you know, as far as having a new friend come into the picture, that's the kind of friend you want, right? That's the kind of friend we would all want. Also, though, having Jupiter in your first house, it brings a lot of opportunity for you in many, many ways. This is the time to try things you've always wanted to try, to learn something you've always wanted to know, even. A lot of times people travel a lot more than they normally would. It's almost like having Jupiter in your ninth house of long distance travel. But because opportunities to do just that should pop up over, you know, from time to time over this next year, even though due to the COVID-19 virus, you know, people aren't traveling all that much, you may still be doing this, and you may actually be going to another country, or at least across your own country. But having more contact with foreigners or people from a different background or different culture than yours, you could take up some kind of way of doing things. It could be a way of thinking, but it's more like you could be adopting a way of life that belongs to another culture. Again, like I said, it's almost like having Jupiter in your ninth house, but it isn't. It's in your first house, and it's affecting your personality. Okay, Saturn here brings an awful lot of responsibility to your life, whether you ask for it or not. So maybe in your expansion, maybe it's something that you would like to do that is very, it's very serious. You know, it could be a really big deal. It could require a lot of time and a lot of money, a lot of planning going into something like this. It could be you starting your own business, starting anything new. Okay, but while you're doing this, you have Saturn here at the same time, making sure that you're, if you're in the middle of contracts or negotiations with anyone, you are listening and reading everything possible, making sure that, you know, everything is exactly the way you want it to be. If Jupiter were just here by itself, you could go off just like off on some tangent and not worry about the details, okay? That's the thing with Jupiter, is it's known to see the big picture, okay? Having Saturn here, though, makes you see the details as to how you're going to get to that big picture. You can't just wake up one morning and go, oh, I'm going to do this, and then go out and do it. At least Saturn makes you plan. So whatever it is that you're doing right now, like for the rest of this year in regards to your future, okay, it looks like it's a really good thing that Saturn is here at the same time, okay, because it's going to make you take baby steps and make sure that whatever you do is done perfectly and will not have to be revisited or revised in any way because it was done so well the first time. Okay, for Pisces. Okay, first of all, Jupiter will be moving into your sign briefly, okay? I'm going to, let's see here, May 13th to July 28th. Then it actually moves into your sign on December 28th, okay? And you'll spend the next year, 2022, with Jupiter in your sign. So the people mainly affected by this, I would have to say, are people born on February 19th, 20th, and 21st. Because Jupiter only is like in 0 degrees to 2 degrees. So if you were born on one of those days, the 17th you have 0 degrees, the 19th 0 degrees, the 20th 1 degree, and the 21st 2 degrees of Pisces. Okay, so you may feel the effects of this right away. Okay, you'll have Jupiter conjunct your Sun, which is always like a lot of fun. It's a really nice transit, but I'll get into that more in a minute. Okay, first I want to tell you about having Jupiter in Aquarius. You have Aquarius in your 12th house. That's where Jupiter is right now, along with Saturn. These both of these planets are in Aquarius, and this was what the conjunction was in December this month that everybody was going on and on about. Okay, so normally Jupiter traveling by itself, you would get the full effects of it, but you're not, because Saturn is here kind of muting it in a way. Okay, it puts a little bit of a damper on Jupiter, but it actually enhances it in a way. Okay, the characteristics of these two planets are kind of opposite. Okay, Jupiter rules expansion and opportunity, good fortune, just branching out and trying all kinds of new things. Okay, Saturn governs stability and sobriety and learning lessons really well the first time, so they do not have to be repeated. Okay, all of this is taking place in your 12th house, though, so it's not like really visible. In fact, all of this is going on in your mind, okay, because the 12th house is the house of the subconscious mind. It's also sometimes known as the house of self-undoing, okay, but I don't see that happening here because you have these two planets here at the same time. Sometimes when Saturn is here, it makes you dwell on really depressing thoughts, fears. Fear's a big thing here. Sometimes when Saturn is in the 12th house, you wake up one morning and all of a sudden you're afraid to, I don't know, fly in a plane, you know. Meanwhile, you've always loved to fly. There was never any problem before. Or being a water sign, you probably like to swim, you know, and all of a sudden you're afraid of water and you're like, where is this coming from, you know. Sometimes this is what Saturn does in the 12th house, but Jupiter here is like kind of smoothing that over. It's making you at least realize that you're thinking these things, that, and that is abnormal for you to be thinking this. It's not, it's just something that popped into your head, not to be taken seriously. You're even able to see it for what it is, which is absolutely nothing. It's just a thought that popped into your head. Okay. The 12th house is also the house of actions occurring behind the scenes. It's acting and doing things in secret. Sometimes that's out of necessity. Sometimes it's just because that's the way you feel like doing something. You don't feel like broadcasting to the whole world, especially friends and family, whatever it is that you're up to. So you could be planning something, some kind of big move even, because Jupiter is about ready to move into your first house, and it's almost like it's mentally preparing you for some kind of a new you, or a new part of you or something. It's bringing, like I said, your subconscious mind to the surface in a way, almost like the planet Uranus would do if it were here. You could be, I want to say, helping someone, or be on the receiving end of being helped. Okay, this 12th house is the house of charity in a way. You know, it's acts that you do out of compassion and kindness. And you have to remember that your ruling planet Neptune is in your first house right now. When Jupiter moves in here fully, okay, you'll have Jupiter and Neptune traveling together, okay? And this just kind of, in a way, screams, oh, the guru, you know. I don't want to say the Messiah, but you could see yourself in some kind of big, you know, spiritual light, you know, think that you're some, you know, really, and you more than likely are a little bit more advanced in this area than some people, but you could see yourself as some kind of savior, like saving people or helping people in some way where you give up a little bit too much of yourself. But we'll get to that whenever Jupiter is fully in your sign, okay? But right now it's in your 12th house of charity and helping people, that say, who are confined to institutions like hospitals or nursing homes or even prison. So you may actually, in your mind, feel that these people need more help than, let's say, the people in your everyday life, which is probably not like a good way to think, okay? You can't really give up yourself, and for strangers even. and ignore the people who are in your everyday life, who are your friends and your family and whatever. But you may be helping or be in contact with people who have a lot of problems, and it could be like people who are addicted to something or other, or like I said, prisoners, people in prison. You could, be doing charitable work is one thing, okay, but becoming too involved with them is another. So you may, you have a lot of compassion going on here, but you may be consumed by the depressing state of someone else, not you, not necessarily you. And that could just like really work on you. So you have to keep in mind to keep around, to try to stay around really upbeat people and people who you deserve to be around. People that are good for you, not that you are good for them. Okay? It's a 50-50 thing. So you have to remember not to give up too much of yourself. Okay? So as far as Jupiter moving into your first house for those people born in February 19th, 20th, and 21st, or around there even, this will give you an idea of what to expect. Okay, when Jupiter moves into your house in December, into your sign rather, in December, and is there for like 2022. So if you're planning something like a lot of times it's a trip, maybe, anything that's pretty important to you. When Jupiter moves into your first house, you're going to kind of light up in a way, but pay attention, those people born on those dates. If you're planning something, try to remember that Jupiter will be in your sign from those days. Let's say May 13th to July 28th, and that's like a really good time to plan as if Jupiter were, no matter when your birth date is, I'm just saying it's going to be conjunct people born on those dates. Okay, an exact conjunction. But all Pisces people should just remember that Jupiter's going to be in your sign for just those few months. So it'll give you an idea of what to expect when Jupiter's in your sign in 2022. So you might want to start something at this time that will flourish even more so in the next year in 2022. So I hope everyone enjoyed their forecast here. Be sure to check out my monthly and weekly videos. Subscribe to my channel. Check out the Ask Me a Question section in the description below. And have a wonderful new year and all of 2021. Goodbye.